Hi, my name is John Wenzel. I'm an engineer at a medical device company where inventions are extremely important to gain a competitive edge against our competitors. We have a very strict process in place, something that takes a little bit of creativity out of the process, but it's a very strict process and it does have its benefits. It got me thinking, what other inventions are around that maybe came about by accident or trial and error without a strict process? So what I did was I did some research and I found 7 items that were found accidentally, invented by accident, and I'd like to follow up and tell you about those. So let's get started. The first item is the potato chip. Now the potato chip was accidentally found in 1853 by Chef George Clum, who was a chef at a Sarasota Springs, New York resort. As the story goes, one of his customers complained that his French fries were too thick. So he kept sending them back to the kitchen. George, trying to get back at this person for aggravating him so much, decided, I'll show him. I'll cut the potatoes really thinly sliced. I'll fry them over and over and give him hard pieces of potato. Much to his dismay, the customer actually liked that, and so did everyone else in the restaurant, and it became a staple after that. Secondly, we have the chocolate chip cookie, which was developed in 1930. Ruth Wakefield, who was co-owner with her husband of the Toll House Inn, ran out of baking chocolate, and she loved to make chocolate cookies for the customers. All she had was pieces of sweet morsels, so she decided, I'll throw those in the batter, mix it up, and hopefully during the cooking process, the morsels will melt and turn the cookie more into a chocolate cookie. When she opened up the oven, she saw what she had created, gave them to her customers, and they loved them. So the Toll House cookie was born. An appropriate invention for this time of year is the fireworks. Now, fireworks were invented over 2,000 years ago by an unknown cook in China. He was experimenting in his kitchen with some strange ingredients to have in a kitchen, but he mixed charcoal, sulfur, and saltpeter together, mixed it up, stuffed it into bamboo shoots, and some of them exploded. After getting the recipe a little better, he realized that he had something that was very good, that the people would like and they'd like to celebrate with. That was the beginning of the fireworks. The next item is Velcro. Velcro was found by accident by a Swiss mountaineer named George de Mestral in 1948. What he found was, when he went for walks with his dog, when they came back they had burrs on his pants and on the dog's fur. After a while he noticed how hard it was to pull them off, so he decided to look into it. He actually got a microscope and started to look at the structure a little bit of the burr and of the pant material. He noticed that the pants had little loops and that the burrs had little hooks, and that's what was causing them to stick together so well. So he got together with a textile person. They came up with a nylon version that replicated that process. Velcro was born. One of my favorites, developed in 1943, was the Slinky. According to the National Toy Hall of Fame, mechanical engineer Richard James invented the Slinky by accident. Now, he's a mechanical engineer by trade. What he typically would do is try to come up with good things that would help the industries out, especially during the war effort. He wanted to find springs that would help stabilize cargo on ships. So he was practicing and trying to find these different springs, and he came up with one that just wasn't strong enough. One day it fell off the table and kept walking and walking and walking. He found this to be interesting, so he started to make those for children and some of his family members, and soon the Slinky was born. And as we know, that famous song that sticks in your head as a kid, especially my age, is what walks down the stairs, alone or in pairs, makes a slinkety sound. It's a spring, a marvelous thing, it's Slinky. And that's stuck in my head for years. The next item, another children's item, is Play-Doh, which was developed in 1955 by Joe McKibber. Now the original usage of Play-Doh before it was called Play-Doh was it was a wallpaper cleaner. people would take this and wipe the walls, and it would help clean off any scuffs or anything like that on the walls. He had friends that were teachers, and the teachers were always complaining that the kids didn't like clay because clay was just too hard to work with, wasn't malleable enough. So he decided to send down some of his product to see if the kids would like that. They loved it. They thought it was easier to mold and easier to roll and do different things with. So then he started to add colors and make it into the Play-Doh it is today. The last item is Silly Putty. Silly Putty was developed in 1950. A chemist named James Wright at General Electric was trying to come up with a synthetic rubber to help offset the amount of rubber that was used during the war effort. He wanted to make sure that there was enough rubber around, and he didn't want us to lose any that was needed for the war, so he was trying to develop something. He came up with Silly Putty by accident. It ended up being not strong enough. He liked that it could be stretched out and pushed back. And again, this was another situation where he showed it to friends, teachers, children. They loved it. They thought it was just a great, great product to have for a children's toy. So by accident, it was done. So as you can see, in conclusion, some items are actually invented by accident, and sometimes they're a little more fun. If someone sat down and tried to make some of these items by scratch with a strict process, they might not have come up with it. Sometimes it takes that accidental invention to actually make a good product. So, in the immortal words of Mark Twain, accident is the name of all the greatest of inventors. Thank you.